Bring the meeting to order. It is 6:30. First up, modifications and changes to the agenda. Anything to add?
We do. We have a water request that we'd like to.
Allocation request?
Yeah.
Okay,
Water
we'll do
and
that. 3.5, I guess. Public comment. Nobody here from public tonight. We'll move on to review and approval for the minutes of August 22nd.
It looked good to me.
Motion to accept.
Move.
Heather with first, Sarah second.
Second.
Heather with second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, those are unanimous. 3.5, water allocation request.
So it came in late. We'll look at it real quick. The Quincy is putting in 2 apartments, so they've asked for 2 water and 2 sewer requests. Brian and Gary have signed off on it, so no issue. The only stipulation Gary said, because it sounds like they want to get going on it, is we have a no dig after the 31st into the streets. So he said as long as they meet that requirement, they're okay.
Is the water on their side of Depot?
I don't know.
They gotta dig across?
Or does it be-
No, they shouldn't.
Yeah,
they
it's on
shouldn't
that
have to-
side.
I think
It's gotta be on that side. That's the side the hydrants.
They shouldn't need to dig anymore though. They got capacity, or are they upgrading the pipe?
I'm not
If
sure
they
if they're
have to,
tapping
they-
on in a different spot or.
Yeah, I don't know if it can be a different angle or what. Just if they have to dig, that's what we have.
Okay.
These are for apartments, you said?
2 apartments.
So like
How many allocations
permanent
do they have?
residents, not
Wait, what?
rent,
Allocations they have now.
short-term.
Quick,
Yeah, close to 10. I think. Oh yeah, the restaurant's probably.
It's gonna be,
4 or 5 itself.
garage underneath,
6 or 7.
apartment was the permit, that's the big, we've already I've approved the permits, and garage, like a garage on the bottom floor and an apartment. There's a 40 by 40 concrete pad out back, or what, they're looking at, once you kind of at like 10 o'clock, and we're gonna use that existing pad for.
They're gonna build a new one.
So they will have to do some digging.
Yeah.
Nice. It'll be great to have some more space for people in the village.
Well, if nobody has a problem with it, I'll hear a motion to accept.
Second?
Either the first, Heather the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay.
Hey.
Okay, up next, Champlain Housing Loan Trust Forgiveness.
Trust loan forgiveness.
How did I say that?
Loan trust.
See, remember the whole brain thing we talked about?
So this is a little bit confusing, but so essentially when the Main Street burnt back, whatever, 2005, 6, whatever it was, and then when they came back to rebuild it, essentially there was some private entities that came to build it, and at that time the village held a loan, a grant/loan. So it's been on our books. We do not pay interest on it. We don't pay interest on it. But it sits on our books at $700,000. And so it was always intended to be forgiven. So we were on a call the other day with Champlain Housing Trust in the state,
Amy is on.
Oh. and Amy's on.
Good evening.
Hey there.
So if you have any questions, Amy's with Champlain Housing Trust.
Yeah, so this happened quite a while ago. Can you just kind of give us the rundown of exactly?
Sure. So, yeah, that's right, after the fire burnt down Main Street, I guess it was 2007 that we were ready to rebuild. The village, on behalf of that project, applied for a grant from the Vermont Community Development Program, VCDP. It's actually federal funds that come to the state. That's very, very regulated. They're only available for municipalities. So we do this all the time with affordable housing. The community that the housing is based in applies on behalf of the project for a grant. It comes to the community as a grant, but because of the financing for the affordable housing, it has to be lent into the program. So it's formally a loan. So you all applied for $700,000 of this federal funding, came to the community, you lent it in to the project. And because we're refinancing the primary debt on the project, we needed to reach out to the VCDP program to ask what to do. And what they're recommending is that they're doing this across the state. They're recommending that communities that have these grants that are now loans, just forgive the loans, because then you don't have ongoing reporting. It's sort of just sitting there. It's just gonna stay with the property and the property will be forever affordable because of funding that we have through a different program that puts a covenant on the property that requires that it be perpetually affordable. So that's kind of an overview, but I'm happy to answer any questions. It's kind of complicated the way things get financed, but essentially it's federal money that came as a grant to the community that was then lent into the project, and we're asking that you forgive it at the recommendation of the state program that operates that grant program.
And it's all been paid back, or it's still sitting there and
Just
hasn't been
sitting there.
used?
Yeah, it's
So,
on our books.
it's just sitting on our book, it's like account 5 essentially on our, if you look at our balance sheet, it is just on there. We record like an interest payment every year on it that the auditors do, but it literally, we report, at the end of the year, I literally log on to, I think it's Evernorth now, is the company that owns it, so to speak, or has put it together, get their financials, put it on so the state can approve it, and that's what we do. So this would eliminate it, we would take it off our books, and we can stop doing the annual reporting, and the state is actually highly encouraging us to just forgive it and wipe it. Cause it was never intended to be paid back when we took it out. It's kind of one of those things, I believe it sits on the books for what, 15 years, Amy, is that what Cassie said the other
Yes.
day? And once you hit that 15-year timeline, you've kind of in the position we're in, and they want everything kind of clean slate.
And the state's on board with forgiving us or whatever.
They're the ones that brought this up and are encouraging us to do this.
So we owe the state, but the state is basically saying, don't pay us back.
Essentially, we don't.
Right.
It's,
Actually, the state, you don't owe the state, it was a grant from the state. They do require regular reporting, but it's not a loan. It wasn't a loan from the state to the community, it was a grant. But they do have ongoing control because of the federal nature of those funds. And I'm sorry it's so confusing.
So the money was given as a grant, but in order for the state to control it, they set it up as a loan. So then after the 15-year loan
Yeah.
time is up, then they're
It
okay
just
with,
wipes away, it goes
they're
away.
okay with it being dissolved or forgiven. Okay. That's confusing, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very confusing.
Okay, well, if everyone seems to think that it's the best
I think it's our
choice of action,
make the accounting side of things easier.
yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
Eli was first, Heather was second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed nay.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you, Amy.
thank you, Amy.
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Are we gonna need to make a authorized signatory for
I
that?
think I can just sign it.
Okay, we'll have John,
Just my signature.
have John sign it for us. Yeah, okay. Alright, Pearly Block. Tim Smith would like to discuss timed parking spaces on Main Street.
Was he coming in?
Tim was supposed to be here, so I guess.
We're a little ahead of schedule.
I can do the dog control thing.
You wanna go on the dog?
But Alan's coming in for the digger truck too, so,
Okay, yeah, let's do dog park stuff.
okay. Kate Bennett came in and chatted with me the other day. I think everybody's aware of the dog park that she is working towards getting put in up at the rec fields. One thing that when she went to the town and discussed it with the town that they brought up was just making sure that ordinances and basically all our T's were crossed and I's were dotted. So that's why Kate came and saw me. We do have a dog ordinance. I gave it to you guys in the packet. However, it's from 1995. All the pertinent information is still in there, but I threw in another packet in your guys' bin. It wasn't in the packet that you got that has the letters of support on top. And then Vermont Leagues of Cities and Town has a model packet that is very similar to ours, but it is more up to date and a little more detailed. I definitely think we should take a look at it. I talked to St. Albans with their dog park and I have their ordinance, they don't have anything different in their ordinance than what we have or what we would potentially adopt with leagues of cities and towns. There's nothing special that needs to be in there. They're just, I think one of the town stipulation was just that the rules were clearly marked up front, and Jesse, jump in if I'm misspeaking on anything.
That
But
was
just
kind of from the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, just everybody
Yep.
on the same page.
kind of an insurance liability
Insure, yeah.
component
I was
of
gonna
it.
say, who carries the insurance on it?
That'll be the town
Yeah.
because the rec department.
Yeah, city rec, so.
So basically, the only ask for us is really a small one. If we can just take a look at our ordinance and update
Probably
it,
should be
which
updated
it's
from
from 1995. It should be updated anyway, in my opinion. So Sam, the other packet that's to your left
Yeah.
has the leagues of cities and town one.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything that specifically would exclude a dog park in our
I didn't
current
find
law.
anything when I did read through it all.
Basically, it says you gotta kind of control them, and if you don't control them, this is what happens, so.
Yep. And
The first paragraph basically says that you can't have dogs running at large.
Right.
And so if you're in a dog park, they're not really at large, so.
right, they're in a
Fenced in
contained
area.
area.
Most dog parks, since I've been, do have like a little sally port sort of thing, so it's like a double gated spot, so like you go in,
You know,
unleash your dog, unleash your dog, and open and let them out.
Yeah.
No. So the town and or rec would be responsible for maintenance on it, and they would be the ones who put up the signs for the rules and making sure that everything is, if there's a complaint, it goes to the town and.
The only thing that really comes into play for us is because it is technically in village limits, so just making sure the ordinances are up to date. So if there is an issue and if they needed to fall back on it, it's there. Because I don't believe the town has a dog ordinance. I think Billy Joe said they just adopt whatever the state statute is. So, and then their recommendation, I think, like Jess
Are
said.
they trying to, one of the letters? Or maybe they were just meaning that they were requiring.
The town is
ours.
requiring us, which we have it, but
It's just the way that it was worded.
yeah,
It sounded like the town was doing something, but, okay, I get it. No,
Yeah, the biggest thing is just because of the location of it, like Abby said, if something happened, if somebody, like you said, Sam, dog at large, where it's actually at large, your enforcement officer has that to fall back on, so that statute, or that, ordinance, there you go.
A dog park a little away from residential like that is definitely more beneficial than, I lived in South Burlington when they put one in right next to the neighbor, like a highly residential area, and it was quite noisy for people who were had sleeping babies or working a second shift, but it shouldn't be loud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Margot's been talking to St. Albans, I
Yes.
can't remember her name. but-
Kelly Deans.
Kelly, yes. And
Is
she's
the head of their rec
Yeah, she's been
department.
talking to them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because they've actually, I've just noticed they have two now.
They
If
do.
you go on 104, there's two.
Is one for
Oh,
little dogs,
yeah,
one for big
yeah. Maybe,
dogs? Cause they
yeah.
often do that because.
They
You
did
do
add
that when
on,
that goes in something.
Yeah.
they did add on a second part to that, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
the
You're
one.
right.
Yeah.
another
And she's
one
been
for
really
dogs
good
too,
because
too.
they've kind of had a lot of,
Or for
I don't wanna
timid
say
dogs and
not
not timid
screw ups,
dogs.
but they've learned.
Yeah.
So she's been able to really pass on a lot of information that, don't do this, do this,
And
so.
they're in the same situation where the rec department through the town is who owns and oversees it, but it's in village limits, so it's a similar situation. And I've read both St. Albans Town and City's ordinance, and they're pretty similar. The biggest thing we would have to look at if everyone's on board to go forward with the leagues of cities and town, and obviously we'll have Jesse review it, but it's just the fee structure is one thing. Otherwise, I think all the pertinent language in it pretty much mirrors, like I said, what ours is currently. It's just a little more detailed and up to date.
Biggest issue is gonna be getting somebody to actually enforce any of the.
Yeah.
Is Dorothy still animal control?
I had a dog completely mauled.
Okay, I knew, okay,
Trying.
I knew you had mentioned something, but
Fingers
yeah,
crossed.
okay.
Yeah.
So I gave her phone number out the other day, and I was like,
It's a logistics thing,
okay,
yeah, it's just a matter of having a facility prepared.
Yep.
So,
okay, fair enough. That's really what it was, is just to start the discussion. There doesn't need to be a decision on anything tonight. It was just really to start
Working on it.
the discussion, and if you guys give the green light, I don't mind doing a little bit of the legwork, obviously with John, and then reaching out to Jesse to get it updated.
I mean, as far as it stands right now, I know the town is gonna want an answer from us before they do anything, so I don't think there's any issue with the ordinance that we have currently.
I think it was more a recommendation from VLCT is what they just wanted it on. I mean, we're still a ways away anyway
Yeah.
from it. I mean, I know Billy Joe met with the fence people. There were some, I haven't been in all the discussions, but I still know they were trying to figure out where they were gonna place it. We were gonna place it in one spot and that had to be moved, so. I mean, we're still very much in the development phase of this whole project, so.
And I explained to Kate and Catherine kind of the timeline, like, you know, once we decide if we're gonna update it, do the review, trustees sign off on it, lawyer review, and then there's a 60-day posting of it, so they're aware that it, but in the meantime, if things were to move faster, we have our existing one in place.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
So,
like, if you want.
And if, like I said, if you read ours versus Leagues of Cities in Town, there's not all the same pertinent information's there, just Leagues of Cities in Town is more in-depth and more up-to-date with some of the kind of terminology and descriptions.
Is there anything, I'm just looking over it quickly, is there anything regarding like dogs and hot cars or anything? I would kinda like to see something about that.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can make note to look at that.
Or dogs that can knock doors of cars.
Been there.
Also, the dog license for the town,
Like I said, it's all handled by the town.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of what the purpose of that is. Just to keep a record of the dogs in the town?
And the fee, and again, this isn't my wheelhouse, I'm not really sure, the fees go towards, oh, I don't remember. I can get you that, I don't deal with that side enough, so I don't know. The fees go towards the $5 or whatever it is, the small fee that it is, it goes towards a cause, and I can't remember what exactly it is, so.
Okay, I've always been kinda confused about that, so.
What are you paying for?
Yeah, exactly, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah,
And who's gonna enforce it?
Right.
right. Well, there was actually.
Well, I think
time-
ours, in Fairfield, I think ours goes towards, then you have that free vet visit
Yeah.
for rabies. I think it all
Rabies
goes towards
clinic.
that, and they
Yeah,
come to a rabies
yeah.
You
clinic.
guys do one at the
Yeah, there's a
emergency.
rabies clinic and there's another one too, and again, and I'm, yeah,
I
there's.
think that's
something-
where ours goes, Fairfield.
And I know in the past, the, animal control officer has gone door to door to, check. Again, it's a pretty daunting task.
It should be pretty easy, just a couple knocks and you can hear him bark.
If you, yeah.
Look on your list, like,
Okay,
Don't
there's
even
at
have
least
to talk
one in
about
there.
I think part of it too is if there is a dog bite situation,
Yeah,
you
that,
can
right,
call the town clerk,
Yeah.
see if the paperwork's on file, rather than trying to track it down with a homeowner to see if the dog is up to date on its shots, because otherwise if you get bit and you don't have proof, you have to start a series of shots or risk.
they're a lot better than they used to be, I'm told.
So, I think that's part of it, is just kind of the regulation of that, but again, the enforcement side of it is not there, I think, for any town.
right.
Until
right,
there's an
that's-
incident.
Until you, right, exactly. Yeah, you're right, Sam, with at your house, when I measured your deck,
Oh, yeah.
I had to measure the deck from the ground, cause I was like, wow, these dogs are gonna come out the window.
Here's this golden
Yeah.
retriever.
I was like, how many are in there?
Everyone's scared of him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure,
lucky
you
to know.
know, I mean, they can hear me out there walking around and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's mouthy.
Doing his
Well,
job.
I guess we'll take a look at between the differences between these two and see what we're missing and if we need to redo it, which we probably at least should. Kind of
I think
freshen it up.
that the penalties and costs are the biggest thing.
Yeah, like the $50.
The fees, which we can do it, and I can pull together like what the city, St. Albans City says, what St. Albans Town is, if you want, just to have kind of a baseline. Those are the two that I looked at because they have a dog park, so I was
Right.
trying to kind of stay in similar scenarios.
Yep.
And I was gonna, it's probably, I'm not sure who, if Fred from BLCT did that with Billy Joe, but they're very good about going back and forth and really working and, they look at it and then
Yeah.
send it back and forth and stuff, so
Yeah.
they're, The thing with BLCT is they've seen it all, so, and
Right.
that's where it's nice to have them you know, look over that and make sure that we're covered, so.
Okay, so I'm okay to just kind of do a review of it and then bring back a proposed updated one?
Sounds good.
Sold.
Thank you.
I texted Tim, I don't know what, text that.
Yeah, we can
I still got a little bit.
continue on.
You guys, the fire department. Alan should be here around 7, I told him 7, so.
Okay, fire department coin drop request.
So you should have seen, it was a separate sheet in the, it didn't make the packet, Mark just got it to me on Monday. But he has a letter in here, basically, I guess they've done a coin drop for about 5 or 6 years now, and they'll be looking to do it again.
All for it.
Move. Second.
We have the first side of the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed nay. Okay, that was too quick.
I can, we can discuss, go into the
Manager's
parking,
report?
or yeah.
I can start the budget portion of it and then we can, the digger truck portion.
And say I have one other, I could do under other business for you guys too. I'm here for the parking thing is what I'm here for, but whenever you-
Oh, yeah, what do you have to say?
So I was watching your last meeting, for something else and you guys, so we were talking about the grand list and you were asking how much the grand list went up. No fault to you, Abby, it's a weird, the grand list went up. It actually went up 1.8 million is what the grand list actually went up. I think what you were looking at is you were looking at it since we bill per the $100 worth of value, it gets confusing. So Tractor Supply alone was 1.2 million. The Quincy was another 800,000. I mean, that was 2 million. You take some out, but we netted, the village alone netted 1.828 million in additional grand list values. We didn't, and I just wanted to tell you, we didn't give any tax breaks or anything like that. The town didn't do any stabilization thing, like what the Quincy got, because the Quincy came up, it's been there 5 years, so that's how come they're now part of the grand list, so that's where that 800,000 came from, so. Reappraisal isn't gonna happen, they're not asking us this year to do it, again, I'm learning all of this stuff. The CLA we thought that was the number that was gonna trip it to have us do a reappraisal, cause it's been 16 years since we've done a reappraisal, but the state is actually looking at a different number. I'm still, like I said, learning what that number means. It's a C.
It's to be the CLA, and then there's some other like equalization or something number that they take.
Yeah, the CO is what it's called, and if it was over 20, that would trigger it, we're at 17%. So the problem is, like you had said, Abby, we're 4 to 5 years out from another reappraisal anyway, because there are hardly, there's not a lot of appraisers and assessors out there anymore. The biggest challenge is you can get some of these companies that come in, but they kind of do a very broad brush stroke. They may look at a particular street and go, like your road, they may look at it and go, yep, this is the first house, everybody's that way. And so it's the key of having some listers in the office or somebody look over their shoulder and just say, well, hold on, that may not be worth the same here as it is down on the end and stuff, but.
Are you guys looking to hire in new listers, or are you absorbing that as your jack of all trades?
I can help, but it's not, I'm not certified to, I'd have to go through there's classes and training. I can help to look over stuff and I can do dummy stuff, like I can go measure and I can do those things and take photos and look over stuff and do the paperwork and stuff, but we're probably gonna have to get a company or somebody to come in and
Sheldon
do
voted to do away with the lister positions this past year and just contract it out.
I was just gonna say who, because
I don't know that.
Kermit was doing, that was unfortunate, Kermit was doing Sheldon and he was doing us. And Tom, Kermit's business partner, came in and he did ours, and then their other business partner did yours and Sheldon.
Yeah, cause I don't think it starts until, next year, maybe, but they, were not refilling the listers, and I don't know, they were gonna go out to bid and do an RFP for companies, so.
Right, and I don't know, yeah, and the other Taco Bell off the state also put out to bid their software. So they were using one particular software, they're now using a different software. And the challenge is a lot of these listers are gray hairs, and that's not a term I'm using, that's a term they use themselves, and they're having a real challenge. These people who've been listed, the average age of them are in their late 70s and early 80s. It's just not a young man's game, so.
Not a coveted position.
No. So, but we got through it this year, and we're limping along right now, getting stuff and learning stuff and trying to get through it. But I just wanted to let you know, it was like I said, 1,828,900 is what the grand list
Pretty
was.
much, John.
Yeah.
So Tractor Supply didn't apply for any tax stabilization?
No, they were, like I said, they were at 1.2. They came in at, so.
And Pearly Block didn't either, right? Did that kick in last year?
That was partially in there, I believe, is how, yeah. Because you gotta figure out what's done by April 1st is what had happened, so.
Huh, that's good though.
Next year should be another good year for work. So all the permits I do, and we turn around and hand it to the listers, for appraisals after that, for just the village alone, we're well over what we did total a year ago in permits, like way over. So, all that little stuff.
Now that 2x4s aren't $1 million a piece.
It's all gone back up though. It would as I'm building. Yeah, it would as I'm building a house right now. A sheet of ply was $21 again. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I bought mine at 10.
Yeah.
If I could just get somebody to put it up.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the story.
I was just about to say, I got 6-year-old Wilson.
Yeah.
William's about the same age, right? We got this.
He's 8, he can
I
supervise.
knew he was the same age as one of my kids.
Oh, the white hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you wanna do manager's report or start into budget stuff while we wait for Alan?
I can do manager's report. Tim said 10 minutes, you can hop on it, so.
Okay.
Or it's up to you, whatever you want to do. I can go first with that, so I can. Let's see here. So just some updates. The crosswalk at Dickinson and Main is complete. We got it done just in time for school to start. So I'm assuming everybody's seen that in action.
They don't all seem to be figuring out that it moved though.
So,
Yeah,
I've seen a
some
couple
people-
people standing on the corner.
yeah, I was standing there and there was a kid that was like over walking and the people stressed out. I'm like, hey, do crosswalk with a safe sign here. And he just looked at me like I was nuts and walked down the road. So.
Yeah, they usually do anyway.
The only left there is they are gonna take up the, where that crosswalk where people sometimes still go. There is the entry ramp or exit ramp
Yeah.
off of the other plaza side, so they're gonna take that up. Local option tax is still, I guess, on the table for us. We're gonna put a one-sheeter together so we can talk about it at the open house this weekend. Just kind of information.
Are you gonna take a poll? Like,
No, that's
Yeah,
not a
we
bad
could,
idea.
like
We
if-
could put one up on Facebook.
if people are just wandering through and if they, start reading you're like, is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. We can look into that.
Kind of gauge public interest.
I feel like I have a good idea which way the vote may go on it if we go
Right.
get to that point.
I mean, people in public are actually interested in paying more for stuff.
I know.
I'm sure the answer is no.
Would you like to pay more for everything?
But you gotta sell it. You gotta sell it in the right way by doing
Yes.
that 1%. It'll help with all this capital and some of the other stuff's
Tell
not
them
gonna
what
go
they'll
up.
get out of it
The
versus
general fund will
their,
have to go up.
other taxes going to cover interest and stuff.
So coming to an open house near you. Youth council update. So Heather and I were on a call today. We're working through some logistics on as far as just like what it's gonna look like. At this point, it sounds like Heather's been working on kind of a application. And we're probably gonna have an application filled out and, obviously targeting a lot of high school students. Then the applications come to you folks, the trustees, and we would kind of weed through them. Start looking to build a small youth council. Again, I've floated this idea out there a couple times, our goal is to, they can't like I mentioned before, in some of the other cities that have had this, they've kind of gone away from it. It sounds like some of the cities had gone down the road of statutes and allowing some of these kids to vote on things and so forth. A lot of them have gone away from that. So we're just basically gonna stick with a youth council that's gonna look at some of the issues that may be facing the youth and or, that we're facing, in the community. And then, what does that look like? Have them talk about it, discuss it, like them, at least one or two of them, at least in the council to come to these meetings, start to see the process, understand it. Can't really vote on anything, but, or, at least come and speak, or listen in. And then on top of that, set up some different things for them to do in the community. So
And
we're, go ahead, yeah.
And then the partnership with Vermont Youth Project for the school and stuff is that there will be some money available to them to do the projects. It's not like village funds or anything, it's state level funds that would go directly to them. So they could
Yes,
dream up some projects and actually do some projects.
so more to come, but that's what we're working on, kind of in the council.
I think John had the idea like that it would be, like the positions would essentially be appointed by the trustees, like we would review it and then we would consider it an appointment. And we're right now looking for the minimum, like kind of for the piloting of this is like a school year appointment with goals of trying to get something to like actually happen through the summer. And be nice to see terms last longer than a year eventually, but I think we're gonna have to iron out some wrinkles.
How many appointments are you?
Thinking 5. That's about what we had in the youth council previous in Enosburg. There were 6 kids on it for 2 years. They graduated, so we have no council right now. We had one, they're gone, they did great things, they moved on, college, work, other stuff. So the school will help recruit, help fill out the application form. We would make the appointments, and we're looking for the school year minimum for now, and trying to see if we can brainstorm this to last, like a 12-month, 18-month, some sort of longer term appointment, so we're not starting from scratch every October or September. But also not having everybody leave at the same time.
I got 5 seniors.
Which is what we had.
Yeah.
Very good counsel.
So some logistics there we're working through, but that's kind of the idea of the concept of it all at this point. I did just kind of a heads up, I did put in your packet, I emailed it out to you, I don't know if you found the email earlier, but I did put in the packet, if we get down to a Vital Village, moving all the power underground. So that was from our engineer that's working on our solar interconnect.
Considerably less than what I would have thought it was.
Yeah, I thought so. The only thing that Gary brought up that I guess I didn't think of at first, he just thought about long term. We're hoping after Vital Village everything will be good, so in our lifetime we'll be all set probably. But he just said if you're, usually they build it like water, sewer, then power, you work your way up. So, if you're going in for a water issue or a sewer issue, then you have to go around power. I mean, it's a small section, it's not, it's only half a mile, whatever, it's not a huge deal.
And they do it in plenty of other communities.
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
But then you have like crossed, so if you have drops going across the road or you try to get the sewer digging by power, whatever, so. But that's the pricing there, so it just gives you an idea as we start to think through it.
600, 510.
510.
That's almost in the doable range.
Right. That was a lot less than I expected.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I don't know, I would like to still kind of dig into this a little more. I know it's a lot of money, but
How much did you guys say?
510.
And that's from,
That's from, we
Here?
went,
From here
we
to
went from
Elm.
Pearly, he had the mileage on there, I think I told him a half a mile, or whatever.
990 feet or something, I think you said.
Yeah, no, so that's actually from Pearl,
Oh, unrelated, yeah, that's solar.
that's from Pearl to
900 feet.
Orchard.
Pearl to Orchard, so.
Yeah, so basically near our main street.
Okay, yeah.
Because we figured, we were talking
Shadeline
about,
Farms is jolly.
Yeah.
we were figuring right here, you know, it's not as traveled and the possibilities of things happening here in the corner, there's not gonna be really a lot.
Right, and the Vital Village is only,
Gonna be that
we can always do the rest of it later.
Right. You can get the bulk of it in there, that's the hard part, I think.
Right, and it's gonna be by the parks. and
2
all that.
million a mile, Main Street's not a mile.
It's a mile from here all the way up to Community National Bank. Exactly. Just gotta go to the bank. every
But like
day.
by Hannaford's.
But I have the footage in the email to him, I think it's 100.
Yeah.
I think it's 100.
I think he said you had 900.
900 and
Yeah.
something feet.
So this-
It'd be a place to start. Main Street's still concrete, correct?
Underneath all the asphalt.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Coming
That's why
down.
you get all the thumb.
Or is it just
No,
a
I don't
hill?
think it means, no, it's just Elm. It's not Main Street.
Elm Street.
Yeah, it's just
Not
Elm.
concrete.
I thought like in
Not even
front
the
of-
hill from like TD up?
Yeah. From like the Jolly Store
Yeah.
up to Jimmy's.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking.
I didn't see concrete.
Cause that,
today.
that's gonna be, that's
Is
gonna
that?
No,
I didn't
it's
see
not
concrete
concrete.
today,
Not concrete down that far.
so. Just wanted to throw that out there, it's kind of just information we can put in the back pocket for now. I guess one last thing, and then Tim hopped on here. So we do have our open house this Saturday. Obviously more than welcome to come, stop in. It's Harvest Fest weekend, we are also taking away the EV charge for the weekend, we're gonna have that free throughout the weekend, we've posted on Facebook and let the Harvest Fest folks know that it's gonna be free for the weekend. That section right there is not, that is still parking available for people, so, they were okay with it, so I did run it by the EPA.
I'm gonna throw something out there for harvest or for open house. This building needs to be washed bad. It's ugly.
They washed it in the spring, didn't
No, they haven't done it in
Oh,
2
yeah.
years.
they?
They
No,
did
they
it.
did the front.
I don't know,
Did
when I
you
walked
guys
in,
do
We
front?
watched, we watched it.
Oh, that's right, Dave.
when I walked in tonight, it's pretty.
It is pretty
Pretty good.
cruddy out there.
get the
but
fire
it's
department
pretty
down here, hose it down.
I would pressure wash it.
Take all the
Oh, you guys went out with clean drill.
The only thing that came in off the press today, real quick, is, we did get the other, estimate on the fencing. Because it was the same, Round Hill. He was about $4,000 more than, Arnie from Milton, for here. And I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned last time, I think I did mention last time, and that's without an extra fence, so, or an extra gate, so he's quite a bit higher, I would say. Because Arnie's was with that gate along the bridge, and this guy's was, Round Hills was just going in along the fence, putting a little window there.
You ever look into that guy?
I haven't yet,
Fair-
called him.
Fairfax something?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was 27, it was odd, he was the same exact number almost as for doing the bandstand, as the same as the Doughboy. But he's about $4,000, he's 27,000, and Arnie was 23. So. That's all I got.
Oh, okay,
Back
thank you,
to number 5.
Yeah, so we will head back to Pearly Block. We have Tim Smith who just joined us, and we're gonna discuss some timed parking spaces. Evening, Tim.
Tim, you're muted.
You can only
I can't. You don't know.
Try that.
There you go.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Sorry for my being late, my appearance, I totally missed it on my calendar. Yeah, parking for us and the Pearly Block will probably be an ongoing conversation for many years to come, maybe. We hope to pave the parking lot this fall before the plants close. No guarantees on that, we're still trying to finalize funding and quotes. But when that does happen, we'll have 28 spots. Most of them will be assigned to apartments or to the supervisory union. What we have learned is, so in the front of the building, many of you are familiar that there's 3 parking spaces, parallel parking spaces. And I think there's 2 or 3 in front of Ben's as well. And for the record, I have not had a chance to speak to Ben about this initiative. He may be interested in going the same route, but what we're finding is as people visit the supervisory union or others, that those, and I share this knowing it's a tricky discussion, but that sometimes if they go for training or workshops or whatever, they may be there for a long time. The 2 retail ones we have are pretty much in and out businesses, people going to get a shake, people going to buy flowers, and then they're on the road. And my question to John was, does it make sense to post those parking spots for hour-long parking? And I get that you don't have a police department, I get enforcement would be difficult, but I think if the signs are posted, if you're open to it, I think some people would be considerate of the signs and hopefully obliged by them, so that the retail can remain strong and have that turnover. And as I said, parking's tricky. Sometimes, and we see it in St. Albans, if someone can't park in front of the door of the business, they'll move on and go someplace else or not do their business at that time. And I don't always want to compare to St. Albans, but we do have 1 hour parking on Lake Street across from the Catalyst and the Red
House.
Bar Suites.
Yeah.
Red House Suites. So we do that. It seems to turn over fairly well, fairly quickly. So that's pretty much my ask is, consider maybe posting those for 1 hour parking. We're trying to help those retail be as successful as they can. Obviously, it's in our best interest as well as the villages. And you did mention open house, John. I just want to make sure everyone is aware that it's more supervisory open house, but we will be doing open house on the building, on the Pearly block. I believe it is Friday, October 13th at 3 or 3:30. I think it's 3:30. So if you want to make note of that and see what we've done with the building, we're pretty close to the end of it. We have some minor touch-ups and a few other things, but the building is completely full. We did submit an application for VHIP funding in hopes to add the 4 apartments up above the annex space, which is what used to be the former warehouse out back. So we hope to get some funding to offset that cost. So that's it. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but it's just a topic I wanted to bring up for discussion.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. I think it's been, the idea's been floated before. I think the liquor store people were at one point asking. So I think it would be beneficial for us to ask the business owners that along that strip to see if they are also on board with that, and maybe get more than just your 3, but also probably the 2 or 3 in front of Ben's and possibly the other side of the street.
There's
2.
5 in front of Ben's.
There's 5.
I just looked at Google Maps.
5 total?
Yeah, 5 in front of Ben's and then 2 in front of.
Okay.
I think didn't they end up with 3 because it was a driveway?
Oh, that's right. Maybe I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's right. Good call. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll ask them. I'm on board with it. So.
It's worth looking
Doesn't
into.
bother me.
So are you thinking for sure the 3 in front of Pearly Block?
We would definitely be in support of it, yes.
Okay. I think we can probably make that happen. And we'll see about adding some more possibly down the road.
appreciate that. So, yeah, because we still have a commitment, and it's a conversation I'll have with Morgan as well, but for some of their longer training, some folks could utilize the Quincy House as well. Just to free up some other parking, so.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, let me know, but, if it's something, you support, that'd be great. And I get you wanna talk to the other businesses as well, but, just let me know and we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
Can I have a personal request, Tim?
What's that?
I have a personal request for the city. Can you work on, or ask someone to work on some signs and maybe not have any dogs at the football field for football season?
No dogs?
Or, yeah, at least put signs up of some sort. In the past, we've had a couple issues with some leftovers.
At Holton Park?
Yeah, but this year it's been like every night we go down there and there's lots.
Okay.
So if you could do that favor for me, I'd appreciate it. Not to put you on the spot, but.
Yeah, no, we can put some,
Just a
temporary
reminder,
signs up for sure.
a reminder to pick up.
Yep. I'll get someone started on that for sure.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank you, Tim.
Alright, thank you all. Have a good night.
So the other thing I wanna add is I just wanna, on the bylaw side of it, that's why I was kinda here, because we do have the parking parameters in there. I know obviously they're your streets, or your jurisdiction, your stuff, you guys can do. We're still in the where we're meeting, hopefully next week, with regional over the bylaws, and just if we need to change anything reflecting that, you know what I mean, like on our end, if that has to reflect anything in the bylaws, saying that.
Week after.
It could be part of our traffic ordinance.
Right, it could, yeah, exactly, maybe it doesn't even have to touch that, I don't know, but just at least a conversation on our end too, if something does have to change in there, then we can just change it, so. Because the way it stands right now with the central business district is, like professional services, retail, they don't have to park off street, they can park on street, but does it have to reflect like, I don't know with the Pates.
Parking on the streets time.
Right, if it has to be some sort of weird thing or something like that, so.
Yep.
But.
No, we can look into it. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of hullabaloo over it, but we definitely need to get in contact with some of the local
So what
business
do
owners.
ask business owners?
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
thinking
just talk to Main
flower to
Street?
flower, liquor store,
It all
then
the retails right
Pat.
there.
Huh?
It all the retails right there.
Yeah,
Garcia's.
Little strip, yeah, because we'd also have to be mindful about like the restaurants would need more than an hour parking available to
Right.
them, and then thinking about like.
Maybe we do
When-
it certain times of the day.
Yeah,
or
I'm just gonna
something.
say like when
9
is
to
it?
5 or.
Cause you got the hair salon too,
Right.
Yeah,
right next to Garcia's.
That doesn't take very long.
hopefully we won't need a sign for every spot.
From here to corner or whatever, so.
Yeah,
well, most places do like certain spots, so many spaces in a row, or like the shorter term, and then so many spaces somewhere else, and close to the restaurant is like the 2 hour or something.
So are we going all the way down to like the town offices in that area and up to the corner?
I'd rather not have it like a
I
picket
wouldn't go
fence
that- I
with no
wouldn't go-
parking signs, but
I won't go that far, I'm just thinking like the retail establishments right in that section of Main Street by the Pearly Block.
I was thinking
Yeah.
Stadium Curly
Yeah.
for now. And if Garcia's and the hairdresser and if like the Notch, if those guys absolutely need one, then we can start branching out from there. But we'll hit the core.
Not to the parking lot though.
Yeah, they still have a couple lots out front.
Yeah.
Alright, so from Missisquoi to Depot. Or
Yep.
the Notch.
Yep.
Okay.
Both sides of me.
Okay, I will report
I
back.
wanna just ask them.
What their thoughts are.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for parking. We'll move on to budget.
Let's get into the expensive part.
Fun part.
I brought the expensive person in tonight, no, I'm just kidding. Kind of kind of a two-part scenario. We can start with the digger truck portion, just so Alan doesn't have to sit through my budget spiel, cause he's gonna have his own budget spiel Friday morning.
Say, I'm not gonna shake.
Come on, Jesse.
Hey, thanks for coming in, Jesse.
Yep.
Yeah,
Alright,
thanks,
you guys have a good night.
Later.
So the hot topic that nobody wants to talk about, but we need a digger truck. I'll let Alan explain. Ours is semi down right now, or did you get it back?
Whole cylinder, full
Yep.
cylinder, and piston that broke.
It was bent, wasn't it?
And caught it in time. But we were gonna lift it up in some three-phase. And I ain't gonna tell you, explain to you what could happen in that scenario. So it's down and out, and we got it up in Canada, getting the piston route done right now. For a new one, it's 2,400. So that being said, there's other issues that are gonna be coming up from the guy that inspects the trucks yearly. So it's on borrowed time.
Right.
And when we get into that scenario, you're not gonna wanna put the money into that. So we reached out to others, Custom Ones Trucking. They're year and a month, over a year out.
First quarter.
First quarter,
First
he
quarter,
said.
2024.
So first quarter 2024. So they had kind of a sale special thing going on where they reached out to everybody. So Alan brought me down his Christmas list, and this was the one on top of it was the specs that we have here. Basically at this point, we have our name on a list for these trucks being built. It's no obligation at all. We can remove our name if we go that route. But the purchase price for what we would need is the $285,000.
And this is for a truck with a body on it, all ready to go first quarter next
This
year?
is if you go,
That's
If
not a
you go-
typical
They
timeline.
Wicked.
it's the line body. If you go to the custom page, it's the line body, right? I'm not lying. We're going to the
Yeah,
line body.
it's just a small tool deal with shovels and hammers and spoons.
Is it the
So on and
T-box
so
or
forth.
line?
The line, I believe. Oh no, T-box. I'm sorry, T-box body.
Yeah, it's not international.
It's not international.
Check.
So we've been reaching out to other various dealers. And by far these seem the most reasonable for as price wise go. I know it's still high, but it's a lot lower than what the other ones are.
Just to put it a little bit into perspective, when the digger truck was up for discussion in the budgets in 2000, you were looking at like 230.
In 2000?
Mm-hmm.
Like the year 2000?
2020. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was like,
Woo!
23 years ago, really?
Yeah, in 2020 it was about 230 to 240,000 when it got scrapped. When we looked at bids last June, J.A. Kiley came in at 350 and Bates was 378, almost 379. So it has come down almost 100 grand.
I feel like we need to put it in discussion.
We would have to finance it, obviously. It can be, we're gonna be starting budgets here pretty soon anyway, so that can be one thing we would have to finance it, there's no doubt about that, but I guess the reasoning for bringing it up tonight and kind of having Alan here to emphasize that ours is becoming a safety hazard for the guys. Like he said, it could have been a really bad situation the other day, luckily they caught it before anything happened. And the fact that we can get one here
That quickly.
in
Yeah, that's-
six months essentially is,
Because they were telling us like years
it would have
In
been like
20
2 years out, yeah.
last year.
Last year it was still, quite a ways out, but this one is actually, I could double check my email, but I'm 99.9% sure it said Q1 of 2024.
These are assembly line. And they just whip out so many of them.
Yep.
And the bigger companies, they snag them up and they just park them in the parking lot.
Mhm.
So when these big storms come in, they have them.
Remember Zuri? Who's gonna get to drive that back?
They got freight on there.
No, these custom one trucks they're out of New Hampshire.
Okay,
Oh,
they're New
okay.
Hampshire, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Missouri. And
I think
that'll be a
that-
fun trip back.
I'm game, I'll drive.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking we ought to pull the trigger on it because
Would we be better off to finance it, or what's the deal with the lease thing like that?
Finance it would be I'd have to look at the options, but I don't, at least that way we own it and it's ours, but leasing, we'd have to see if there's a warranty, if there's a difference in
Right.
warranty and maintenance, so we did select that we wanted to look
And we're
at
trying
both
to-
options.
We're trying to maintain a newer fleet and
Right.
keep them in rotation.
if you get a 5-year, 7-year lease or whatever, that
Right,
it is warranted for that period.
if it is.
And we'd obviously, I mean, nobody can predict kind of the availability of it, you know, if we were to get a new one in 5 years or what the lease options are, but it's definitely, we did check off that we wanted to explore both options, so when it comes closer, we can definitely take a look at it either way. But it's a big purchase, but it's a necessary purchase. I think we've put it off as long as we can put it off, and like Alan said, it's nothing short of a miracle that the thing passed the inspection this past year. Nobody expected it to, and we're continuing to put a Band-Aid on the situation.
Right. I mean, he was a Band-Aid truck and we bought it back in what, 19?
Yeah, I guess it.
And it was only
That's
supposed to be
been
for like
3-4
a year.
Yeah, it was supposed to be
We're like 5
until we
years
can
down
get
the
a new
road,
one.
and here we are. So this is
Yeah, here we are down the road.
So this is kind of a FYI, we're on the list, and when it comes to budget time, if we move forward, then this is what we'd be looking at, and we can look at all the finance options.
Says our quote expires on 9/30.
Where?
Underneath the price. Number blah blah blah, expiration date 9/30/23.
Yeah, I can't read, I don't see that. I don't know, we can reach out to him and let him, and find out if this is locked in, or. It says price is subject to change just because of material prices. Which I think we would run into that with anyone, because we ran into it with the
Yeah.
Freightliner plow truck, we had a surcharge because of an influx of material, so I don't think it would be that different of a situation.
You don't have any idea what a digger truck was going for like pre-COVID,
Oh boy.
just to put it into a little bit of.
I don't think you really
Context,
wanna know the answer to that question, though.
Well, if it's like 180, 200, this isn't
Is
that
it
bad.
terrible?
Like this is.
No, I see where you're looking at the expiration date.
Yeah,
It's on the last page.
It's gotta be up
Yeah, it's
there.
under the pictures.
I didn't go that far.
Those, 280, maybe,
Back then.
yeah, those up there. But, those, after COVID hit, and obviously everything,
Yeah. Yeah, because if this is a pre-COVID price, which it's kind of looking like.
well, that's cause we were spec'ing out a truck that we wanted. They had some, like a corner mount, this is what they call a captain's share, so it's not quite what we wanted. So, but we're gonna live with it, you know what I mean, type thing.
Cookie cutter kind of
Yeah.
assembly line thing instead of a custom made.
Right.
Just because David's what people said in the building. Too long.
Yeah, that's the downfall of it. It is what it is, you know. We got the help now, so usually it was just Dave and I. We set the poles and can get down off the truck and help out on the ground and get back up on there. The cow just straight running. You know what it is.
Yeah.
That's the downfall of it.
Well, do you think you can get by with it?
Oh, yep.
Definitely.
Resounding yes.
Yeah, that's, yeah, definitely. The big
The other
plus.
nice thing with this is it comes with the hoisted, so they can load a pole and take a pole.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, comes with.
So you don't have to
You don't have
have
to trailer
another
it.
guy, a trailer, and
Yeah,
a
that's
truck.
bonus.
So 2 guys can hop in and go, load a pole and roll a stone, pole pit or something.
Yeah.
Cool. I and like I said, we'll continue the finance discussion on that when we get into budgets and whatnot, but.
Yeah, I would say,
We need
I
to
would
do
say
it.
we need to be prepared to talk about it, like, kind of solidly next meeting. Cause if this quote's gonna expire at the end of the month, they're gonna need an answer.
We can follow up on that because I'm curious if that was when it expired or when the opportunity to like get in line for one of these expired.
Cause we had, those 8:30.
Yeah,
I thought it was
What'd you
8:30.
say for 9:30?
9:30.
this says 9:30,
So I'm
but
thinking if we didn't have our name in there by that time, I'm thinking that's, then
It's
we
worth
get
asking.
scratched
a question.
off.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can, we can reach out to, what is it, Matt, I think we were talking.
Yeah, see how long we have,
The lock,
yeah.
semi-lock in that
I
number.
mean, they must kinda understand how municipalities work, you can't always just pull the trigger.
It's the speed of government.
Right.
Right. Not only that, but the truck's not gonna be ready, we're obviously not gonna pay for it until we have it, so.
Yeah, absolutely, we would need to budget that
Right,
and see if we can afford it.
yeah, Matt is our salesperson, so between Alan and I, we can follow up on that.
Yeah, okay.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Adios.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Yep, see ya.
My budget conversation's really short and sweet, it's just, hey, guess what, we're starting budgets. My biggest,
There's no opening ceremony or anything?
no, we're not getting that crazy with it.
National
I mean, you're welcome to come Friday when we meet with all the department heads, but my biggest thing
I'll buy
is,
donuts.
huh?
I'll buy donuts.
You were I was fully planning on bribing them like usual. My biggest ask from the trustees is to start thinking about projects and wants for next year. So we can start out with a list and weed it down from there. And I'll have this conversation with Leonard and Sandy too, because I don't wanna get to the last 2 budget meetings and, oh, hey, what about
Yeah.
this? Cause that seems to happen every year.
It's easier to take them out than just put them in.
Yeah, so I'd rather start with honestly a page-long list for every department and we kind of weed it out from there. But that is my ask for maybe the next meeting, maybe the first one in October. I'll see how far I get with the department heads, because I'm kind of gonna be asking them the same things as well. And see where we are with sidewalk rotation, paving rotation, any of that, but
I think the roads are actually almost kind of looking good, for the most part.
for the most part,
Can
I
you say
would.
that out loud?
I would agree with you. I know Gary and Ken took the time last year and kind of typed up
Yeah, we have a list.
what year everything was done, so we have that, so we can start coming up with a better rotation. I know it's not a tractor, what is the name of the thing we were looking at last year for the highway department?
Front end loader thing,
Front end loader green thing, that's all I can tell you.
That's the official
A
term.
what?
that avant
Yes.
sidewalk.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, that is definitely still a priority on the list for the highway department, so just bear that in mind. Everything's been going really well with the zero turn, Kevin's a master at it, he does a really good job with it, so that worked out really well. But that is still definitely, Ken's gonna start doing some homework on that and try one out and look at a couple different options to see. And there's also a discussion of getting forks for whatever we do get to, especially with doing like the bigger flower pots and all that stuff for the traffic calming would make their life easier. That's been mentioned more than once to me, so I think they're trying to drop hints. But that's my ask in the next couple of weeks.
So they have a quick attach on those things?
Yeah,
Just a regular skid steer one?
I don't know if those are skid steer or if they're
John
pin
Deere.
lock. I don't know if they're John Deere, but
I have the
Jason
specs
has one of those
somewhere.
little articulated loaders and it has a quick attachment.
Proprietary though?
I don't know if it's proprietary or mini loader quick attach.
Yeah, either way, quick attach is a good thing.
So yeah, so looking at that and the attachments that come with that and then pricing all of that out, I think it was 100 to 120 ballpark maybe last year, so I don't know what the price will be this year. Maybe it'll be like the bigger truck and it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, probably.
So that's really my short and sweet of it all. Do you guys have any requests or changes to how we did budgets last year? I thought we
I think
breezed
we went
through
pretty
pretty,
smoothly.
No, that one good.
pretty good last year.
Yeah, it's pin lock style, I think.
Okay. That was really it. Just come with your list so I can pull it all together for a capital projects list for each department. And then we can whittle it out and go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll put Sandy on sidewalk duty. Which ones need it?
Be a long list.
Yeah.
Church Street is still.
Church Street,
affected it more than
yeah.
once, so,
It is pretty rough.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of
That one's
grass,
been
a lot
on
of
the
bird
radar for
pieces.
a few, Maple Park enhancements maybe?
Yes,
What, that skim coat over after this fall and nowhere.
They what?
We're gonna have to go back and put a coat over after they've done the work.
No, I mean like the park
We're
itself.
gonna start
Park,
getting
yeah,
utilized
yeah.
a little bit more.
Well, like we were talking about dog parks, I thought maybe the Maple Park would be a good spot to put it, but by the sounds, high residential areas aren't. ideal.
Yeah, I could see that being an issue for some of the residents there.
Okay,
Better parking too.
huh?
Better parking up street too.
Yeah, if there's a way, I think there's a lot of things that make it better there. Yeah. And they're gonna have a playground up there, so the kids can go on the playground and the adults.
We actually sent out, with our stuffer for the playground, bring in,
Stuffer?
with our stuffer that goes in with your bill.
Oh,
You
yeah,
get
yeah,
the bill,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
got the thing, sorry,
I guess I should
my
start opening
words are
those.
not there, but
Never open my bill.
if John agreed, we sent one out on the backside of our open house flyer, and I actually had a couple people come in today looking to do donations, so
Nice.
hopefully I sent them up to the
They're
town,
at-
but
I see the coin
Almost
drops
6
everywhere, the little coin.
yeah,
They're
and
at almost $6,000.
every restaurant, I think pretty much is doing, like Bumblebee's doing something, Kathy's Tavern's doing something, Katrina Flower to Flowers doing something. For the month of September, you buy a certain pizza, you buy a certain appetizer, so much of the proceeds go
Mhm.
towards the playground.
Yeah.
So they are doing a phenomenal job at fundraising.
Yes, it's amazing what fundraising can do.
Yes.
Okay, other business, since we're already kind of in other business? Nothing? Okay, hearing no other business, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality.
Second.
You have the first, have the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.